Hey guys, and welcome back to So Love. I'm glad you could join me today. We're going to take a little walk in the garden, see what's new, and just to give you a few updates. So yesterday I was driving from my niece's birthday party and saw this light fixture that someone was throwing out. So I was like, that could definitely go in my garden some kind of way. So stopped, put it in the car, and when I got home I took me and my husband took apart the light fixture, and we're gonna use this as a terrarium. That's my idea. So I'll give you an update. I might do a little video, a DIY project, when I'm actually doing that. So of course we're here in the greenhouse. I have some things that I have started. These are zinnias, which actually I was just trying to see how quickly they would start in the greenhouse versus outside, and then covered versus not covered. So I have a couple of experiments going on in the greenhouse, but these have sprouted, but I actually put some straight into the ground in the garden, and those have sprouted as well. So if you're in zone B, the weather has been beautiful. It's like spring. Hello. So it's been nice to be out here soaking up some sun and getting some things in the ground. I haven't gotten too carried away because, you know, Georgia weather, you just never know. So we're gonna walk out here to the garden beds. So I put in a new bed, and this is for the most part going to be like a kid garden. Under these boards, my son wanted some carrots, so we planted some carrots. You can see his cute little handwriting right there. So those are the petite, sweet little carrots, which we just did them 2 days ago. So we'll see how that goes. We actually plugged in some squash. My daughter wanted some squash. She's a squash fan. So we did some squash and zucchini along these rows. And you can see my drip line irrigation is installed. So I put all that out yesterday, and I'm excited to be able to use that. So I'm just coming back from the Growers Mart. And if you're in Georgia, anywhere near Loganville, the Growers outlet is amazing. Great prices, great selection. These are actually on clearance because they're kind of dying, but I think I can revive those. Those are variegated peppermint plants. But take a trip to the Growers outlet. Really good prices, and they update their inventory daily online. So if you do a quick search for them, you'll be able to find those. But I got a few herbs that I'm going to plant into my herb garden any day now. So these they actually had on clearance for $3 for like a flat of like 12. So these are beets and chard. There's like, what is it called? Dragon blood beet, and then just your typical beet, which I can't think of the name, and then some rainbow chard. So we'll see how that does, though it has been hot. We'll see how it goes. So obviously still the winter sowing is going on. This is a rose plant that I pulled up from the front. It was just kind of growing in a random place, so we'll see how that goes. But the winter sowing, guys, if you haven't started it, please start. It's so easy, so cool. So these are just a few of the things that are going really well in the winter sowing. Some tree collards, which actually I need to pull those out or water them because it's been fairly dry. I'm waiting for we're supposed to get some rain here in Georgia this week, so I will come out here and water a few things today. This is new. I planted some nasturtium, some zinnia, some cosmos, and some columbine, and I did a passion flower in here, which I know the passion flower can get pretty big. This will be my first year growing it, so I may or may not end up pulling those out, but the idea is that they'll go, you know, along the trellis there. You know, so we'll see. But I'm excited to see the nasturtium and just everything coming up really nicely. Just, you know, simply sticking it in the soil. So all these are for the most part going to come out within the next couple weeks. especially as it continues to warm up and shows signs of spring, so I can make room for my spring veggies and summer crops. So the idea is, some of these I do actually want to save seeds from. So I might end up potting a couple and then leaving them to bolt to seed. That way I can actually, it won't delay my process of, or progress of, planting out summer crops. So my mom was here today. She actually came and shopped my garden. So she's actually gonna have food tonight, or dinner tonight, from my garden, which is pretty cool. I'll try to insert a picture of what she was able to harvest. Again, we went to the growers outlet, and I can't remember the name of this, turtle something, but I was able to get some from my mom's plants. So I would like to put these in a hanging basket. So it was a really nice full basket that she had, and I just kind of pulled two, areas, and you couldn't even tell like I had pulled from the basket. It was so full. So I'll get those potted up very soon. And this is a mystery bulb I found growing in the yard, but it actually is, if you see it's sprouting. So I'm curious to see what that is. I found it on the 6th of this month, so we'll see. This bed is for the most part empty. I started some corn a couple weeks back just to kind of see how it will do. Normally with corn, I do just pop it in the ground, but I'm curious to see how it will do transplanted. So we'll see. It's looking a little dry, and again, I'll come out and water if we don't get any rain. A Yarrow plant there. I put in some random flowers in the garden too. I'll try to point those out, but you'll see those just kind of tucked in the yard at random places. So I stuck in some lettuce, cabbage. There's a little more lettuce there. These are the bachelor buttons that I sowed directly into the soil, and you can see those are coming up really nicely. I sowed some poppies over here, or was that something else? Yeah, poppies, but those don't look like poppies. Those still look like bachelor buttons, so I don't think the poppies have come up yet, but we'll see. Progress on the strawberries. Those are looking really good. These up here are struggling, so we'll see how it goes. These are actually the pine berry. So I planted these over here so I could try to attract some pollinators and also get some cross-pollination with the pine berries. They say you get a fuller harvest, a better production out of the plant if you intermingle another strawberry variety. So we'll see. And a cool little strawberry coming in. It's so cool to see spring coming and things picking up in the garden. It's just amazing. This is actually Lantana, and this was the annual variety of Lantana that I bought last year. When I moved, I took all my plants, y'all. I put them like in buckets and bags and everything. So this, I had 3 of them. They were on clearance last year at Walmart. Beautiful yellow plant that did really well at my old house. So I actually need to come and cut down all this, the rest of this dead wood. But you can see signs of life. I figured, I was hopeful that they would come back. And to my surprise they did. So don't throw away your Lantana, pot it up and save it for the next year. This is serviceberry and aronia berry that I planted out this year. Those are looking really good. More zinnias, and these are coming up really nicely. See what else is new. I potted up that forever purple plant. That's I'll probably move that somewhere else. It's just kind of hanging out temporarily right now. More strawberry plants. Those are looking pretty good. My son will help me water the other day, and there was so much dirt up against the fence, so I'm trying to teach him to have a gentle hand. So I try to get them to help me out as much as possible in the garden, just to kind of help along with that. Blueberry bushes, y'all. The blueberry challenge is going really well. So I'm excited to see these are still thriving. I actually need to do a soil test just to kind of see what we're looking like as far as the pH and the acidity. But the signs from the plant are telling me that I did something really good. So it looks like they're happy. That bed that had the zinnias coming up is for the most part empty. This is a Citronella plant, which looks like it's struggling. So if y'all have any tips with Citronella, I've never grown it before, let me know. I do have, I forgot, a clematis planted here. So it can, and you can see it coming up. That's one that I brought with me from my old house. It will climb on this trellis and look really nice. This is some creeping Jenny that my mom gave me. And I just love the idea of having flowers and things kind of ramble and creep or fall or drape along the beds or the sides of beds and pots. So I'll probably move some of that, but you know, I really like how that looks. So more chard. The spinach is looking pretty good. We'll see how long it takes for that to bolt because it's been so hot. Some raspberry sorrel, which y'all, they said that tastes like raspberry vinaigrette. I'm trying to get into it because I know it has a lot of health benefits, but so far I'm not really impressed. But we'll see how it goes in a salad mixed with other greens. These are some poppies that I just kind of tossed on the soil, and it looks like a few of those are coming up and doing okay. I thought I had more last time. I'm wondering if if they're not liking the heat. But these are looking pretty good, so hopefully enough to where I can save some of the seeds from this. Is again my first year growing poppies. This is another flower that I planted mainly for the sake of pollination and just kind of enjoying the blooms. This is supposed to be a really vibrant orange, so we'll see how that goes. There's another pollinator I planted called the butterfly flower. And update on the carrots, those are looking really good. Sowed now maybe about maybe a month and a half ago now. Dry out here. So these are purple asparagus, which have not sprouted up yet. But my asparagus that I had last year, that I planted from seed actually last year, are coming up again. This is a blue pea. So that's actually looking really well. I don't usually do that well with peas for some reason. But fingers crossed, you know, I'm trying different varieties and just kind of seeing what works or what likes me growing it. So we'll see how it goes. But that's the blue pea. Walking onion looking pretty good. And again, y'all, in the next few weeks or so, these beds will probably look drastically different. Now this is an interesting flower. It's new to me. This morning it was looking really full and the flowers, the leaves were open. So I'm just curious. I need to do a little more research and see what the behavior of the plant is. It said it likes full sun, but I'm wondering if it just closes its leaves. But you can see it's starting to lose color. And I'm not sure, again, if it's closing its leaves, losing color because maybe I have it in the wrong place or maybe because of the soil. So I'll do a little bit of research on that. This also has some plants that I brought with me in this bed that I'll transplant out soon. My artichoke, which I will probably move at some point. But if you haven't seen the blooms on the artichoke plant, they're huge, beautiful, and purple. And I heard these spread really nicely, and it's good to use the leaves for mulch in your garden. So I'm looking forward to that. Another clematis plant coming up right there. Some more cilantro that's not looking that great. And some more Swiss chard. I'm not sure if the cilantro is happy about all the heat. So this is the Mizuna Greens, or these are the Mizuna Greens that are bolting. So they're flowering and going to seed. So again, what I'll do is maybe choose 2 to pot up and let them, let the seed pods form and actually save the seeds off. of the other ones I'll just cut down to the root and, you know, leave the root in the ground to compost into the soil. So these are some red maple trees that I brought with me from my old house, which are budding and looking really good. These more than likely I'll sell at my plant sale that's coming up, which I'll give y'all more details on later. Sweet peas. These guys are looking pretty good. So dare I say that I struggle with growing sweet peas, and now they're going to start growing. So fingers crossed we get a production, get some fruit out of that. Here are the strawberry planters, and all the strawberry planters are actually doing really good. So fingers crossed, maybe we'll get a few berries this year. And then this bed, again, more brassicas in this bed. So I did want to update you guys on the worm bin. So let's take a look at these guys. Now, what I do is just keep an eye on them, make sure it's not too wet in here, make sure it's not too dry, make sure they have enough food. But y'all, the worms are looking big and juicy. Like, they are loving this worm bin. So again, this is my first year doing the worm farming. So, you know, I don't want to disturb them too much, but I just wanted to show y'all how productive and how big and juicy these worms are. So still doing research on, you know, how long it takes, what to avoid, different types of composting. And I'm looking to try a couple more types of composting as well. So again, here's another compost bin, which that's actually breaking down pretty nicely. Lots of friendly flies coming out. And the smell, it doesn't smell that bad. Like they say, compost is supposed to smell sweet. And I understand that now, like it doesn't smell terrible. So I'm trying to get some sweet potato slips here, which you can see there's signs of life coming up those. And guys, my potatoes are coming up. So that was awesome to see. And of course, what I'll do is continue mounding the soil as those continue to grow. But very nice production so far from this potato experiment. So you can see 1, 2, 3 there. And some, y'all, I have another experiment too. So some I put like just the, you know how like when the potato starts budding, so I took some of the buds off and just popped them in the soil. Some have half a potato, some have a whole potato. So again, experimenting to see what works best. Blackberry bushes are doing okay. Those are still starting to bud. Raspberry bushes are looking really good. What I'd like to do, I think, is add some more berry bushes right over here, build up the soil a little bit. But I'm very curious to see how much this grapevine, how much space it's going to need, like how big it's going to get, you know, because again, I want to kind of train it to the fence, excuse me. So we'll see what happens. Rose bushes, these two I'm worried about. I did just fertilize yesterday with some rose tone. I did that with all my rose bushes, and I did it with the hydrangea bushes as well. So we'll see how that goes. But these two so far, they're still green. My mom was recommending that I cut them down further, so I'll do that. Continue watering them and see if they bounce back. But for the most part, all of the knockout roses are doing really good. So they're budding, loving this warm weather, and they're ready. This is actually not a knockout rose. This is a pink drift. But all the roses are, even this little bitty one, it's showing some greenery. So very excited to see those along this fence line. Here's the Oakley hydrangea bush that I brought from my house. And that's looking really good. It's starting to wake up. And some Linton Roses that I got at my local growers mart. So I'm trying to do better, y'all, about labeling my plants. So I can know exactly what I have going on. So Linton Roses, y'all know those usually bloom early spring. They like the shade. So very curious to see how these do. I added 2 more this week. Oh, this one's coming up right here. And the other ones were in, maybe they've been in about 4 weeks now. So those are looking really good. So now we're gonna walk over and take a look at the fruit trees. All right, so I got these new trees in the mail. These are all Pawpaw Trees, and I thought I was ordering one other variety, but these are all the same variety. They're all Asamina. If I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. But these are all the same variety, and Pawpaw Trees need another variety in order to pollinate. So I will be looking for another variety online and add it to the bunch, and I'll probably end up selling one at a plant sale. But these, they were all green. The roots on them look really good. Oh, this is actually starting to bud, so that's good news. And so what I'll probably do is I might end up planting these in the area right behind my fence, so I could get some other things to produce back here in my backyard. So these are Pawpaw Trees, and I planted these up with just some tree tone in my potting soil mix, and we'll see how they go. So I fertilized all of my fruit trees yesterday. I used tree tone, and I'll keep an eye on it, and I'll see if they like the tree tone better or the liquid fertilizer, and I might just mix them both up. But the pomegranate tree has lots of greenery on it. Still no greenery on the goji berry, but it has some small buds, so I'll take that as a positive sign. The mulberry tree is budding as well. So the idea is for these to not get over, because I want to keep the main trunk about this height, and then of course I want to build the goblet shape and keep all the fruit reachable. So ideally that would be no higher than 7 or 8 feet. So that is my goal, guys, to make these varieties easy to harvest fruit from. So there's the fig, the peach tree. Buds are looking great. My brother actually has a peach tree, and his has produced some really pretty pink blooms. So I'm looking forward to seeing the blooms. I'm sorry, that was the nectarine. This is the peach tree. And all of these have buds on them. This is the plum tree. There's buds there. This is our pear tree, our Bartlett pear tree, which has some buds, but it looks about the same. Well, yeah, that looks a little new right in there. A little bit of new growth. And this is the plumcot tree, which has some little small buds on them as well. So as soon as these start bearing green leaves, y'all, it's going to be an exciting day. A new one that I picked up today is this olive tree, which I'm going to do a little bit of research because I don't know much about olive trees, but it's a self-pollinating variety. And I'm excited to see. I love olives, like green olives, black olives, love them. So this will make a nice addition in my yard. And my little tree shrub from my grandmother's house that I've had for, oh my goodness, it's been over 6-7 years. So I brought a piece of that with me from my old house, and that is thriving. So that's exciting to see. I planted some new things outside of my fence, so I'll show you those as well. So I have this lavender here, and then there's some rhubarb there, which this is my first year growing rhubarb, and it's looking pretty good. I bought it as a bare root plant, and these are all flowers. I think this is feverfew. I think I have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So the other ones, as far as I know, are not edible, but you know, who knows? I'm going to do a little bit of research and find out. But for the most part, the lavender, from what I understand, you know, I can use that in tea and, you know, different herbal remedies. Has a nice calming, soothing effect. The feverfew, the rhubarb are the plants that I interplanted with these regular flowers over here. So all right guys, so that pretty much concludes my garden tour and new updates. I have a bunch of plants inside that I need to bring out. So the plan is this week to bring the seedlings outside and start potting those up, leaving them for the most part in the greenhouse, and then I want to start slowly exposing them to the sun. So start hardening them off. So that'll be a couple weeks process, and that'll pretty much guide us right into the summer or the spring, to where they can go into the ground. So very excited about this upcoming growing season, and just experimenting and seeing what happens, you know, being okay if something doesn't go well, learning from the mistake, hopefully growing from the mistake, and trying again. So gardening, I always say, is a nice journey. It teaches you a lot of perseverance. There's a lot of lessons that go there's a lot of lessons that go on in the garden, and be okay with that. You know, it's a part of just the process of gardening, of life, growing up, you know, so on and so forth. So I don't have the bunnies with me yet. I'm looking for some bunnies, so I'll update you when I get the bunnies as well. So thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye.